Let me begin with something simple, but powerful. Don't waste anything that happens to you, especially the pain. Now, I don't say that lightly. Pain is real. It can break you, but it can also build you. It depends on what you do with it. Most people try to run from pain. They bury it, ignore it, they numb it with distractions. Too much TV, too much food, too much blame. But here's what I learned. Pain is not the enemy. It's a signal. It's telling you something's wrong. Something's out of order. And if you listen, really listen, it can teach you more than any book or seminar. When I was 25 years old, I was broke. Not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I had a pocket full of excuses and a heart full of regret. I told myself stories about why things weren't working. I wasn't lucky. I didn't come from money. I didn't get the right education. But all those stories did was keep me stuck. Then one day, standing in my small apartment with bills piled high and a future that felt like a fog, it hit me. Jim, this is pain. And if you don't use it, it will use you. That was the day everything changed. See, pain is either a wall or a window. It can shut you down or it can show you something. And here's what it showed Meg. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. I had been avoiding the pain of effort, the pain of change, the pain of discipline. And because of that, I was carrying the pain of missed opportunity, the pain of potential left untouched. And I decided, no more. I made a vow that day. I said, if I have to feel pain, I'm going to make sure it teaches me something. I won't waste it. You see, most people want to avoid pain, but here's the truth. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. And growth, that's a choice. Don't wish you were easier. Wish you were better. That's not just a quote. It's a philosophy. It means you stop hoping for life to hand you comfort. And instead, you build strength, you build skills, you build character. You grow into the kind of person who can handle life's pressure, because pressure is a test. It asks you, are you serious about your goals, or just interested? Will you rise, or will you retreat? Or pain is part of the process. It's the fire that burns away the excuses. The forge that shapes the man or woman you were meant to become. And let me tell you, there is a hidden gift in pain. It's the gift of awareness. When life stings, you wake up. You get honest. You stop blaming and start changing. You take responsibility. And that's where power begins. You start saying things like, I don't like where I am, but I'm not staying here. I don't feel strong, but I can get stronger. I may have failed, but I'm not finished. That's when you begin to use the pain. You pick up the pieces and say, let's build something. You open the notebook and write. Here's what I've learned. You turn your wounds into wisdom. Because here's the secret. The most powerful people you'll ever meet are not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who suffered and learned, who fell and got back up, who hurt and healed anyway. They reframed the pain. They didn't ask, why me? They asked, what now? So I ask you, what pain are you holding on to? And more importantly, what are you going to do with it? Don't waste it. Use it. Because once you learn the lesson, once you take the pain and mold it into purpose, you become unstoppable. That's the hidden gift. That's where the journey begins. And that's what pain is really for. Let me tell you something simple. Pain is energy, and energy must go somewhere. You can let it crush you, or you can convert it. You see, the same fire that burns the house down can also heat it. It's all about direction, intention, control, and most importantly, decision. Now here's the decision you have to make. Will you let pain drain you? Or will you use it to drive you? I chose to let it drive me. Years ago, I remember being embarrassed. I had promised my family something, a small trip, nothing fancy, but I couldn't afford it, not even a tank of gas. I had to sit them down and say, not this time. And I saw the disappointment in their eyes. That was pain. That kind of pain sticks. It sits in your gut. And you've got two options when it shows up. You can drown in it, or you can burn it as fuel. That night I went to work. I stayed up late with a notebook and a question: what can I do to make sure this never happens again? A C, pain sharpens your focus. It makes you ask better questions. It makes you hungry. Hungry people don't complain. Hungry people move. They don't say, why me? They say, watch me. And that's how you turn pain into fuel. Disgust is a powerful emotion. When you've had enough, that's when change begins. But sometimes you've got to get angry. Not at the world, but at your own excuses. Not at the people around you, but at the lies you've believed about your limitations. You can't use pain until you get honest. And honesty is step one to transformation. You say, this isn't working. I'm not where I want to be. But I'm done pretending. I'm done blaming. I'm done waiting. That's when things shift. Because when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change, you change. Now here's a key idea. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by becoming an attractive person. What does that mean? It means pain is the wake-up call. But you still have to do the work. You have to grow. You have to read. You have to develop skills. You have to study. You have to practice. You can't just feel the pain. You have to channel it. When I felt the pain of failure, I didn't just sit in it. I took it to the books. I took it to the mentors. I took it to the job site. I turned it into fuel. That's how you build momentum. One step, then another, and every drop of pain becomes part of the fire that pushes you forward. You saying, I'm going to build a new mindset. I'm going to build new habits. I'm going to build a life I'm proud of. And suddenly, the pain that once haunted you starts to help you. It becomes a reminder, a reason, a root of discipline, because discipline is born in discomfort. That's why most people avoid it. But if you can endure a little discomfort now, you avoid a lot of regret later. And believe me, regret is far heavier than effort. Here's what I want you to remember. You're not powerless. You're not stuck. You're not broken. You're becoming. You're building. And if the pain you've carried up to this point has been heavy, here's the good news, says you can lift it. You can move it. You can use it. The same pain that tried to bury you can become the very thing that builds you. But you've got to decide. You've got to take responsibility. You've got to say, enough is enough. I will not waste this pain. Because in every tear, there's truth. In every failure, there's feedback. And in every wound, there's wisdom. You've just got to be willing to look for it. Turn your pain into fuel. Let it move your feet. Let it sharpen your mind. Let it open your heart, because once pain becomes purpose, there's no stopping you and nothing wasted. Let's talk about something powerful, something that changes everything, not just how you feel, but how you live. It's the shift from victim to student. Now hear me on this. Life doesn't happen to you. It happens for you if you let it. Most people don't see it that way. They see pain as punishment, failure as defeat, challenges as obstacles meant to hold them down. But here's what I learned, when you change how you look at things, the things you look at change. That's the mindset shift. You stop asking, why me? And you start asking, what is this trying to teach me? You go from seeing pain as something to run from to something that can refine you. See, a pain without perspective is just suffering. But pain with perspective, that's the beginning of growth. That's where wisdom is born. That's where leaders are forged. Let me ask you a question. What if the pain you're experiencing is not there to stop you, but to shape you? What if it's part of the plan? What if that delay, that disappointment, that heartbreak, it's not a detour, it's the training ground? See, the world trains us to avoid discomfort, but life trains us to grow through it. That's the mindset shift. Don't just go through it. Grow through it. I remember a time when I lost a business deal, not a small one. It was big. I had counted on it. I had planned around it. And when it fell through, it hurt. Now, I could have said, this isn't fair. I could blame the economy, the market, the other party. But instead, I asked myself, what did I miss? What can I learn? What must I do differently next time? That's when I started learning faster. That's when I stopped repeating the same old mistakes. And that's when I began to grow into the kind of person who could succeed long term. Because here's a truth I want you to write down. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. And to become more, you have to see more. Especially in your setbacks. Your mindset must become your strongest asset. Not your emotions. Not your circumstances. Not your luck. But your perspective. Because everything changes when you see pain as part of the process. Everything shifts when you start saying, this challenge is building me. This loss is teaching me. This pressure is preparing me. See, people ask me all the time, Jim, how do I change my life? And I tell Thing, you change your philosophy. You change how you think. That's where change begins. Not with more money. Not with a new job. Not with better weather or nicer people. It begins in the mind, because the mind is the soil. And pain, if you let it, is the fertilizer. You can plant strength there. You can plant discipline. You can plant resilience. But only if you shift the way you think about pain. Now, here's a practical tool, something I used. I call it the reflective question. When something hard hits you, don't react. Reflect. What is the lesson here? What must I improve? What part of this pain is my responsibility? That last question, that's the one that changes the game. Because when you take responsibility, you take back your power. You stop being the victim. You start being the author. And authors don't just read the story, they write it. They say, this chapter was tough, but I'm not done yet. I've still got pages to fill. That's the mindset shift. From helpless to hopeful. From stuck to strategic. From bitter to better. Don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action. Don't just think better. Live better. Change how you talk to yourself. Change what you believe is possible. Change what you focus on. And that changes what you do. Every day you wake up with new eyes. You see opportunity where you once saw obstacles. You see strength where you once saw struggle. And suddenly, pain isn't the enemy. It becomes the invitation to grow, to lead, to rise. So here's my challenge to you. The next time life gets heavy, the next time things don't go your way, stop. Take a breath and shift. Don't course the pain. Thank it. Learn from it. Use it, because the pain isn't the problem. The mindset is. And once the mindset shifts, the whole story begins to change. Let me give you a truth that most people avoid. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the price. The price of growth. The price of progress. The price of becoming better than you were yesterday. And make no mistake, if you want progress, you must be willing to pay. Now, I'm not saying life should be hard all the time. But I am saying if it's always easy, you're probably not growing. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better? That's what I told myself in the early days. I used to wish for comfort, for smooth roads, for friendly weather. But the truth was the best parts of me weren't built in comfort. They were built in resistance, discipline, sacrifice, hard lessons. That's the real price tag of progress. And here's what I know, no pain, no progress. You can't build muscle without resistance. You can't build wisdom without mistakes. You can't build resilience without pressure. So the question isn't whether you'll face pain. The question is whether you'll trade it for something greater. Because you will pay. The only difference is, what do you get in return? Some people trade pain for bitterness. Some people trade pain for excuses. Some people trade pain for comfort and stay right where they are. But you, my friend, you can trade pain for progress. I remember when I started in business, I was scared. I didn't know anything. I had no money, no skill, and very little confidence. But I had hunger. And I learned very quickly, if I wanted to get ahead, I had to get uncomfortable. I had to make the phone calls. I had to face rejection. I had to get told no 100 times just to find the one. Yes, that was pain. But I decided I'd pay it because I wasn't buying an easier life. I was buying a stronger me. That's the mindset of champions. They don't fear the pain, they leverage it. They say, if this is what it takes, I'm willing. They don't chase comfort. They chase capacity. And every time you pay the price of pain, you earn something new, a new skill, a new standard. And that is progress. Let me say it plain. Comfort is where dreams go to die. Now, I'm not talking about rest. Rest is good. Rest is necessary. But too much comfort too soon, too often. It robs you of your edge. It lulls you into average. That's why we must embrace a little pain. On purpose. We wake up early when we want to sleep in. We read when we'd rather scroll. We work when no one's watching. We choose discipline over distraction. That's not punishment. That's preparation. Because here's what most people misses: pain now, freedom later. Comfort now, regret later. And regret, that's the pain you don't want. So let me ask you, what pain are you avoiding right now that's holding back your future? Is it the pain of change? The pain of starting over? The pain of saying no to things that no longer serve you? Face it, feel it, and use it. Because progress costs something. It always does. But I can tell you this, the pain of growth is always lighter than the weight of staying stuck. We must all suffer one of two things: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Choose discipline. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it requires effort, but it's how you win. And when you win, when you start to see results, something beautiful happens. You become proud of your pain. You say, I paid for this. I earned this. You look back on the struggle and say, it was worth it. And that's what we're after. Not just progress, but pride in the progress. Because you didn't get it from luck. You didn't get it from wishing. You got it from showing up, from sacrificing, from becoming more. So here's your reminder: pain is the price. But growth is the reward. Don't shy away. Don't look for the shortcut. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were stronger. And then build yourself up until you are. Because you can handle more than you think. And when you accept the price of progress, pain is no longer something to avoid. It becomes something to appreciate. It means you're moving. It means you're improving. It means you're still in the fight. And that is worth every step. Let's bring it all together. You've faced pain. You've been hurt. You've been stretched, challenged, tested. But here's the real question: what will you do with it? Because pain, on its own, is just a feeling. But pain with purpose, that becomes a force that can shape your character, a force that can shape your habits, a force that can shape your legacy. Don't waste your pain. Use it to build something that lasts. We don't get to choose every experience life hands us, but we do get to choose what it means. And more importantly, we get to choose what it creates. See, I've learned this: your story isn't what happened to you. It's what you chose to build because of it. That's legacy. It's not the house. It's not the bank account. It's not the recognition or applause. Legacy is the impact of how you lived. And nothing deepens your legacy like pain that's been transformed. When you take the struggle and turn it into service. When you take the lessons and teach them to someone else. When you take the wounds and use them to build wisdom. That's when pain becomes a tool, not a trap. Let me say it again: pain can either trap you or train you. It can shut you down, or it can open you up. You decide. You can let pain become your excuse, or you can let it become your example. The choice is yours. I've seen people go through tough times. Broken homes, financial loss, betrayal, sickness, and come out bitter. But I've also seen people go through the same and come out brighter, stronger, kinder, more focused, more generous. Why? Because they made a decisioning. I won't let this break me. I'll let it build me. That's the stuff legacy is made of. And here's the secret. Your legacy starts long before you're gone. It begins with your choices today. How you show up, how you respond, how you lead your life when it's not easy. You leave a trail behind with every word, every act of discipline, every time you stand back up. It's not what you get that makes you valuable. It's what you become. You become valuable when you take your mess and turn it into meaning. You become valuable when you take your story and make it someone else's guide. Because someone out there needs your story. Someone out there needs to see you rise. Not perfect, just rising. That's how you build legacy. One decision, one day, one painful moment, transformed. Maybe the pain you've experienced wasn't for you alone. Maybe it's meant to open doors for others, to light the path, to become a foundation others can stand on. You see, pain that's buried grows bitterness, but pain that's shared grows wisdom. So share what you've learned, share who you've become, not just the victories, share the valleys. That's where people connect. That's where people are changed. Pain, when mastered, becomes leadership. It becomes credibility. It becomes depth, not from theory, not from textbooks, but from life, from the trenches, from the tears, from the quiet nights when you kept going, when no one else saw. That's what builds your story. That's what builds your reputation. And that's what builds your legacy. So if you're in pain right now, don't waste it. You shape it. Turn it into fuel, into wisdom, into strength. Make it count. Because years from now, someone's going to ask, how did you become the person you are? And you'll say, I didn't run from pain. I turned and faced it. I listened to it. I learned from it. I used it. And that changed everything. So as we close this journey, let me leave you with this. Don't fear pain. Don't resent it. Don't deny it. Transform it. Let it chisel you. Let it refine you. Let it mold your mission. Because when you reframe pain, when you turn wounds into wisdom, when you rise in the face of it all, you don't just change your life, you leave a legacy. Well, my friend, we've walked through the fire together. We've talked about pain, not as punishment, but as a pathway, not as something to run from, but something to learn from. Because here's the truth, in life is full of seasons, some easy, some hard, but every season brings with it a chance to grow, a chance to decide, a chance to turn what hurt you into what helps you. Now, you know pain is not the end. It's the beginning, if you'll let it be. So don't waste the tough moments. Don't hide the scars. Don't bury the lessons. Use them. Build with them. Let them sharpen your vision. Let them strengthen your voice. Because you were made for more than comfort. You were made for contribution, for purpose. And purpose is always born in the struggle. So today, make a new decision to rise, to reframe, to rebuild. Take your pain, turn it into power, and walk forward with wisdom and strength. Because someone is watching. Someone is following. Someone is waiting for you to lead. Let pain shape you. Let it grow you. Let it guide your legacy. And remember, it's not what happens to you that determines your future. It's what you do about it. Make the choice. Live with intention. And never forget, you have everything inside you to become everything you were meant to be. Thank you, and I'll see you at the top.